Hey everyone, it's Diego VITERI. Welcome to a new video of VITERI Boxing. Today I will show you combinations in boxing, but specifically I will show you how to create your own combos in boxing, because the most important thing is not to know specific combinations, but to know how to create your own combinations. So let's begin. When we talk about combinations, we have to separate combinations in two factors: the setup punches and the finisher. Setup punches are quick punches, they open spaces and they position yourself, and they work hand in hand with the finisher. So you have to first use setup punches in order to have the finishers. Finisher punches, of course, you use a lot more of hip rotation and you need to put a lot more power and commitment to the punch. But first you need to use those setup punches. For the setup punches, we have two types of punches. You can use linear punches or circular punches. Linear punches are those that go in between the guard. You go in between the guard exactly in a linear movement, not necessarily from the center line. You can also go from an angle, but those that go straight in a straight line. You can also call a linear punch the uppercuts, because they go between your opponent's guard and it's in a linear movement. Curve punches will mean to land to the body. Hook punches, circular punches. Hooks mainly are the circular punches. So in order to have a good combination, you have to be able to combine both of them, linear and circular, and also head and body. When we are using setup punches, you don't need to use specifically linear or circular. You can use any of those punches. For example, the 1-3 combination, a basic combination, I'm going to use a linear punch just to blind my opponent, and the circular one to land a finisher. So this one is positioning myself, then when I'm positioned, I'm here, I just land the punch with a circular. If I want to create a longer combination, like a 3-punch combo, I can also use linear, circular, and then linear as a finisher. For example, the 1-3 as a setup punch, I use a jab, a hook, and then I send my linear punch as a cross. So the first two punches are going to create the openings for my cross. So you have to be able to connect the setup punches, finishers, between linear, circulars, head and body to have good combinations. One boxer that I strongly suggest to study is Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez is great at using circular and linear setup and finishers. Look at his fight with the Perro Angulo. He uses an uppercut, a linear movement, and with the same hand a hook to the body. He can mix between head and body and using setup and finishers. So that's why he's so good at using combinations. When are you going to use a combo? Normally, when you start a fight, you start to study your opponent, just to taunt your opponent and move. Maybe single punches and move to the sides and use your footwork, see how he reacts. So combinations are not useful at the beginning of a fight. If you want to do a combination, normally you need your opponent still, maybe cutting the ring off, and then when you have your opponent still, then you can create combinations like Canelo does. But you need to know that it's better to have shorter combinations, like 2 to 3 punches. That's my suggestion. Why shorter combinations? Because the longer your combinations, the more opportunities you give to your opponent to counter. If you do longer combinations, you take yourself out of position with each punch. Each punch is an opportunity for him to counter. So always make combinations for 2 to 3 punches. An example of a fighter using combinations but fighting a good fighter with footwork and couldn't land the punches, it's Canelo Alvarez against Erislandy Lara, the Cuban fighter. He couldn't land punches because he had good footwork, and he couldn't land also punches to Mayweather for the same reasons. So if you want to punch someone with different combinations, you need him still. So maybe cut off the ring and take him to the ropes, and then you can have a better combination. To make your combinations even better, you have to use feints. Feints are used as attacks or as setup punches. They work exactly the same. You can use, for example, in this clip, you can see the 1-3, the jab hook, but the jab is only a feint. You don't need to throw the jab completely. Look at Roy Jones, how he throws his jab just as a feint, and then he hooks out of that feint. So you don't need to use all the time the punches. Feints have to look like attacks and attacks have to look like feints. And in another example, you can see Lomachenko using a feint going high, and then he goes to the body with a cross. He feints a jab to the head and he goes to the body. So always making your opponent guess and using feints also as setups. But remember that feints have to look like attacks and attacks like feints, and they will work exactly the same. Thanks everyone for watching my video. Remember, with this video, you already have the tools to create your own combination. So that's the whole point. I don't want to give you an exact combination that's going to be useful, because the whole point is that you can create your own combinations and to surprise your opponent using setup punches, using finisher punches, going to the head and going to the body. Remember to subscribe to this channel, leave me a comment below because I want to know what you want to learn next week. I'll see you next week for the next class.